Welcome to week 2 of Strategic Human Resource Management. This week we step back from your book a bit. The first week we looked at chapter 1 of the book. It introduced human resource management in kind of a basic introductory way. In week 2 we're actually going to talk about strategy a little bit, and we're going to pull in some models from the field of strategic management, models that really are not discussed in your book. But I feel that if you really want to understand strategic human resource management, that we need to understand the field of strategy a bit. The field of strategy is like lots of other areas of management in business and social science, where there's really not one dominating accepted view. There's many different models and theories out there that have been tested in real world applied settings, and many of which have shown to be useful. One that I really want us to take a look at here is the resource-based view, the resource-based model by a researcher by the name of Jay Barney. And I have two different articles and a video that are cited here that I highly would recommend. Barney's view, just in a basic sense, is that firms consist of different resources, meaning that what one company has in terms of their tangible and intangible resources, whether it's machinery, whether it's factory, whether it's brand name, whether it's expertise, whatever, they're different. Not every company has the same thing. Not only that, these resources are not mobile, meaning that the differences in resources between companies is typically a difference that will last. While certainly you will have competitors that will be able to obtain some of the resources your company might have, there are many that won't. And obviously we can think of small companies that certainly do not have the resources that an Apple or a Walmart would have. And that's kind of what this model is saying, is that organizations have different resources, and those differences in resources can oftentimes last for a long time. What are resources? Pretty self-explanatory. They're tangible or intangible. As we mentioned before, tangible resources would be things like a factory, like equipment, like money. Intangible resources would be things like brand name, like culture, like expertise. According to Barney's model, not all resources are created equal, so to speak. The resources that Barney says really matters are those resources that are rare, meaning that not everyone in the industry necessarily has them. Maybe your company and very few others have them. Also, the resources that Barney was concerned with were ones that are valuable, resources that you can truly take to produce value for your company, value by increasing sales, value by cutting expenses, whatever the case may be. Resources that can't be imitated by your competitors, or resources that your competitors don't have substitutes for. If a resource meets these 4 criteria, rare, valuable, can't be imitated, can't be substituted, then that is a resource that you truly can take advantage of to create a competitive advantage. So let's say you have a research and development department, and that research development department is just incredibly unique in terms of the expertise and creativity and innovation that they possess. They are constantly cranking out just new and innovative products. Then what this model says is that particular resource, because it's obviously valuable, it's probably kind of rare, it would be hard for others to imitate it and substitute it. What your company needs to do is absolutely center your strategy, focus your strategy on that particular R&D department. Realize that going forward as a company, your success needs to be based on the incredible innovations that your R&D department can bring to the table. Another example, maybe your production facility is just second to none in terms of efficiency. Your department just has, or your particular organization has the uncanny ability to produce low cost and efficiently. So if your production facility has that ability to produce at an incredibly low cost, then that is certainly going to be rare. It's certainly going to be valuable. It'd be very hard for competitors to imitate and substitute. So what should you do as an organization? Well, your strategy should be centered on taking advantage of those incredibly low-cost capabilities. One last example, I suppose, would be customer service. If you know that your organization just has individuals in place who are amazing at customer service and has customer service beyond what any of your competitors in your area can provide, then you, in formulating your strategy for your overall organization, should take advantage and let your strategy essentially ride on that incredible customer service arm that you have in your company. Interestingly enough, it's been 30, almost 40 years since this model came around, and there were lots of different articles written on this resource-based view of strategy. One of the more seminal works was by Barney himself, and it was probably 25 years after this model had come out. And Barney essentially said, if you really think about the resources that organizations possess, which ones truly lead to lasting success? Well, usually it's not tangible resources like buildings and equipment, because those can typically be copied and imitated by competitors. Really, the resources that tend to lend to lasting success and advantage are things like leadership and culture and teamwork. And if you think about it, what is the root of all of those? Well, the root of all of those are humans, individual people. And so in this article, Barney essentially says, if you think about it, lasting success comes from your human resources. It is the people that make the difference in an organization, not equipment, not software, not hardware. I mean, those are important, but if you have the right people in place, those can truly be the source of advantage. Another model of strategy, just to point out here, is Michael Porter's business level strategies. Michael Porter is a giant in the field of strategy, and among his many different models and contributions, he talks about the different business level strategies an organization can pursue. One being cost leadership, meaning that an organization can get ahead of its peers by being a cost leader, meaning they produce at a price that is lower than their peers, and by producing products or services at a lower cost, they then can sell those at a lower price potentially, or even if they choose to sell their products at an average middle of the road price, they're going to have a very large margin because of the fact that they are a low cost producer. Organizations can also differentiate their products. They can choose to produce products that are perceived as unique because they have amazing quality or customer service or features that others don't have. So organizations can pursue those types of strategies. And last but not least, a focus strategy. A focus strategy is focusing on a very, very narrow segment of the market. I think of a company like Lamborghini. Yes, they sell a high-end car, and I guess you could call it differentiated with its features, etc. But it's also a focus strategy because Lamborghini is focusing on such a tiny, narrow segment of our population who could afford that car. Another focus strategy would be like the motherhood stores that, yes, they sell clothing, but they specifically sell maternity clothing. So a very, very specific segment of our population they're focusing on. Whichever strategy is pursued requires that the right HR be put in place, meaning the right people be put in place, right? So if you're pursuing a cost leadership strategy, you would need employees who are incredibly efficient. If you were pursuing a differentiation strategy of let's say customer service, then you would need to have individuals in place who could certainly deliver on that customer service. We need the right functions in place. If you think about the article that was cited last week about Sue Noakes and T-Mobile, in that article, it very much dealt with the fact that they needed to alter their various HR functions. They needed to have selection processes and training processes and performance appraisal and compensation processes that were consistent with the new strategy that they had put in place. As you see below, there are two articles on Porter's strategy. The articles are a bit different, but they deal with the same topics. They kind of have different twists on them, but they will elaborate more on Michael Porter's. As you're reading those articles, I really want you to think how important it is that HR systems and functions be developed in order to support and carry out Porter's different strategies. Alrighty, have a great week.